Hello, welcome back to my channel. I'm Kayla Lindsay with the True Lane Group here in North Carolina. If you guys have any referrals or need help in the Carolinas, North and South, I am your gal. Go ahead, don't forget to like and subscribe. We are dropping some awesome content coming into 2022, and I don't want you to miss out. So today we are gonna talk about some hesitations. What do I mean by hesitations? Well, how many of you guys have gone, I'm gonna make calls, but I just need to get more organized? Yep, you know who you are. Let's talk about it. Okay, so you keep hesitating, you're not making your calls, you're not prospecting, you're not following up, and you keep claiming it's because you need to get organized. Here's the thing, I've been there, and it's not that you have to get organized, it's just that you're overwhelmed, right? If you really look at it, it's because you're overwhelmed. You've gotten lists and lists of people you could potentially call, but at the end of the day, you're thinking to yourself, yes, but all these top agents say that you have to be efficient, follow up in certain days and certain times and certain voices, etc. It's a little daunting, a little overwhelming. So what do? Well, because we can't do it perfectly, we just don't take action at all. I'm using the word we because I am one of those people, and that's why I'm going to share with you my tips on how to do this. So let's talk about the types of lead sources. Well, you've got past clients, you've got Sphere, right? You've got other agents. Yes, that's a lead source. You've got expired FSBO, withdrawn. You've got probate. You've got pre-foreclosure. You've got circle prospecting. You've got a lot of sources. So here's my recommendation. Here's the way I tackle making my calls so I am the most efficient. Now, what some people do is they'll go, I just want to make a lot of calls, right? Because they think just making the calls means business comes. It's about the contacts. So you can make 100 calls and make 10 contacts. That's very efficient. Or you can make 1,000 calls and make 10 contacts. Which one would you rather do? That's right, the 100 for 10. I would take that bet all day long. So how do we get to that? Well, some people will jump on and say, I'm going to circle prospect. No, I'm not saying circle prospecting is bad, but you need to figure out a way that you're going to do circle prospecting that it makes sense. For example, if you are door knocking a neighborhood and then the following day you cold call that neighborhood or circle prospect, that's a good use of time. You're trying to get double hits on people that you've already seen or ones that you've missed. And in that call and in that voicemail, you can say, hey, I was out in your neighborhood the other day. So sorry I had missed you, or it was wonderful to meet you. Would love to talk about real estate, right? That is an efficient use of time. Now, if you just blanket search a bunch of numbers in a particular area and city and you just start dialing, that is a huge waste of time. Now, we have a sister company to ours, which actually does do circle prospecting, but we have virtual assistants that are doing those calls. And guess what? They call about 5,000 people a day, and usually, while they get plenty of contacts, they only get 1 to 3, what we would call deals or actual leads that are produced from that. Do you want to be a cold caller or do you want to be a real estate agent? That's what I thought. So let's go with more cost and time saving activities. So here's where I start. First off, I hit the new expireds and new for sale by owners, as well as new withdrawns. Now, sometimes these are called something different in different states. So whatever it is in your state, that means the seller said, done with my agent, I'm taking my house off the market. That's the numbers that you need to dial. Dial the ones for that day. If it's a Monday, dial Saturday, Sunday, Monday ones that came in. So you're hitting all the new ones. The next thing you want to do is now jump to your follow-ups or hot leads that have come in that day. Now, this could be into your CRM system. This might be something that popped up in Mojo, whatever it may be. You want to call your follow-ups, the people that you planned to call that day that you had talked to maybe a few weeks ago and you said, hey, I'm going to move over here. I'm going to give them a call back on Monday. Call your follow-ups and call your hot leads. Remember, what we're trying to do is we're trying to not just call and contact, we're trying to convert them to making an appointment so we can list or help them buy a house. Make sure you keep that in the back or the forefront of your mind is that's your purpose. It's not just to do the activity. So call your follow-ups, call your hot leads. Now from there you might be going, okay, but I know when leads come in, I need to call them a certain number of times. Now what do I do? You're right. So here's what's next. You need to start blocking off your time. You don't want to sit there on expired calls all day long and then get really bored with it because nobody's picking up. Because you know the further out in time that you go, you're going to just get less and less pickups, right? So if it was from 6 months ago, if you dial 100, you may get 2 to pick up. That's fine. Don't get discouraged with it, but also be ready to change it up. So here's what I recommend. If you've got a new lead that came in, you should be calling, especially one that you paid for, by the way. If any of you are doing any kind of paid ads or things like that, where you're pushing traffic into your page, make sure you make those your top priority because you paid extra money for them, right? We need to convert them. In addition to that, write this down, people convert highest the faster they're called. That's right. If you call someone in the first 5 minutes they put in an inquiry, you're gonna have a 10x return than someone you called 3 days later. You know why? Because if they're actively searching, they're actively online, they're not waiting around for you. They're not. I'm sorry to break it to you, but if they want to buy or sell and you didn't pick up or you didn't call quick enough, they're going to the next person. Have I lost deals that way? Absolutely. No one's perfect, so don't hit yourself over the head or beat yourself up for not getting to that call immediately. You do need time to yourself. But understand, if you get to them quicker, you're going to have a higher conversion. So here's what I recommend. As leads come in, the hot leads, the new ones, you want to make sure that if you haven't contacted them, you're calling every single day for at least 2 weeks. Every single day for at least 2 weeks. Then you can drop them down to 3 times a week for another 3 weeks. Then you can drop them down to twice a week for the next 3 weeks. Then once a week for the end of time. And you might drop them down to once every other week if they're really not picking up or going anywhere. But what is the purpose of this? Well, one of my biggest listings I ever got was 2.8 million. And guess what? I got it on the 18th call a year and a half later. Now you might be saying, Kayla, 18 calls, year and a half, that doesn't even match your numbers. The reason I say that is because I wasn't even doing it perfect, right? I'm giving you, what could you do if you were perfect? Even if you just barely hit that amount of being perfect, you're still going to get better results than you would if you called them once and dropped off. Here's a fun fact. 92% of people are calling on the first day, and only 10% of people are willing to actually make a buying or selling decision. The interesting thing is, it goes inverted the more calls you make. By the 12th call, which I don't even know if this is going to show up in the video, by the 12th call, no one else is calling, right? You're 12 weeks into this, maybe 3 weeks, 4 weeks. But guess what? There's more people willing to make a decision by that 12th call. Now, it's not just because you called on the 12th call and they're like, hey, it's day 12, we're ready to go. That's not what it is at all. It's just that either they were overwhelmed by all the calls they were getting, or they were already pissed off that it didn't sell the first time. And I'm talking more specifically to expireds. Same with for sale by owners. It wasn't selling. They're finally ready to listen to you. But every time I recommend leaving a voicemail. They're going to start to know who you are. Eventually they may call back. I've gotten a couple that have called me, hey, you've called like 6 or 7 times. We're ready to go now. I never heard a peep from them. I'd never even spoken to them. But they knew I was consistent and I followed up. Okay? So then you're gonna dive in, you're gonna go ahead and make all your follow-ups, then you're gonna go back to your hot leads, and you can organize this however you want, but I'm gonna give you the bottom line. Whatever, if you have a list of 10 people or 400 people, just call through it from start to finish every day, or every week, should I say, right? Every week, you can hit 400 calls every week to people, can't you? Yeah. And as you layer them on, you might start pulling out certain ones that are like, yeah, these are hotter prospects, I'm gonna call them more. And you might start trashing some that are like, oh yes, it's totally a trash lead. It's not even the right person. I don't, we don't connect. I don't like their values. They were just absolute douches to me. You're permitted to do that. You own your own business. You can work with whoever you want. And you're gonna start whittling that list down. But did you notice how simple I made that? Call your new expireds, FSBOs, and withdrawns. Call your hot leads, right? All those are first thing. Then you jump into your follow-ups. Then you jump into your slightly older leads, ones that came in. And then you can also hit those expired and FSBO lists. And by the way, don't just hit the whole list at a time. Chunk out months. Pick like, okay, I'm gonna call January of 2020. Okay, I'm gonna call March of 2020, right? Because the list ends and then you can go on to the next thing. Give yourself little wins. Hope you guys got something for this. Let me know in the comments below how you organize your calls and how often you're calling. Also, let me know how many contacts you're getting, because coming into this year, you need to be up to 35 per day. Hope you guys got a little bit out of this. Make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.